You know, I've seen a lot in my 76 years. I've seen people rise and I've seen them fall. I've seen love bloom and hearts break. I've seen the world change in ways no one could have imagined. And through all of that, I've learned a few things. I want to share something with you today, something most people don't realize until it's too late. If I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would say, "Honey, listen carefully, because this will save you a lot of pain." Let's start with people. Oh, people will surprise you. Some will lift you up and others will let you down. And let me tell you, don't waste your precious years chasing those who don't see your worth. If someone makes you feel small, that's your sign to walk away. You were not born to beg for love, respect, or attention. The right people, they won't need convincing. Now let's talk about time. When you're young, you think you have so much of it. But the truth is, time is the only thing you can't buy back. I remember being in my 20s, thinking I had forever to do what I wanted. But forever? It moves fast. One moment you're young and strong, and the next you're wondering where the years went. Use your time wisely, travel, learn, love deeply, and for heaven's sake, stop putting things off until someday. Someday is a myth. You know what else is a myth? The idea that money will make you happy. I've had money and I've been broke. Let me tell you, the happiest moments in my life had nothing to do with the number in my bank account. They had everything to do with the people I was with, the memories I made, and the peace I felt in my heart. Now, speaking of peace, let me ask you something. When was the last time you just sat in silence? No phone, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. Most people are afraid of silence because they don't want to hear what their heart is trying to tell them. But listen to me, if you don't take the time to know yourself, you'll spend your whole life lost. And about health. Oh, darling, take care of your body. You may not feel it now, but every late night, every bad meal, every ignored pain, it all adds up. Your body is the only place you have to live. Treat it well, move it, nourish it, and don't take it for granted, because one day you'll wish you had taken better care of it. Stays when life gets hard. If you find someone who loves you at your worst, who stands beside you when the world turns its back, hold on to them. Love isn't about grand gestures or perfect moments. It's about showing up, even when it's hard. It's about choosing each other over and over again. And please, for the love of all that is good, don't waste your tears on someone who doesn't value you. The right love will never leave you questioning your worth. You know, people often ask me, what's your biggest regret? And you know what? It's not the things I did. It's the things I didn't do. The moments I let fear hold me back. The times I stayed quiet when I should have spoken up. The dreams I put on a shelf, thinking I had more time. If you want something, go for it. Don't wait, don't second guess, just do it. Because one day you'll wake up and there won't be any more time left to do all the things you wanted. And before I go, let me leave you with this. Life is simple. People complicate it. Love deeply, laugh often, be kind, not because you expect something in return, but because kindness is who you are. And never forget, you are enough, just as you are. Let me tell you a little story. When I was young, I had a friend. Her name was Margaret. Oh, Margaret was full of life. She wanted to travel, she wanted to write, she wanted to see the world. But you know what she kept saying? I'll do it later. 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 Well, later never came. She got busy with work, with obligations, with worrying about what people expected of her. And then, just like that, she got sick. Too sick to travel, too sick to do all the things she put off for later. She spent her last years saying, I wish I had, instead of, I'm so glad I did. That stuck with me. Because you know what? None of us are promised later, we have now. And if you're not making the most of your now, you're making a mistake. And speaking of mistakes, let me tell you about something else that people get wrong. People think that happiness is something they'll find one day. They say, I'll be happy when I have more money. I'll be happy when I lose weight. I'll be happy when I meet the right person. No, sweetheart. Happiness isn't something you find. It's something you create. It's not waiting at the end of some achievement, hiding behind a number in your bank account or attached to another person. It's here, right now, in the way the sun feels on your face, in the laughter of your friends, in the quiet moments when you realize that life, just as it is already enough. Now, let's talk about something most people don't want to talk about: aging. Oh, people are terrified of getting older. They see a wrinkle and think their life is over. But let me tell you something. I earned these wrinkles. Every line on my face is a story, a moment, a laugh, a lesson. Aging isn't something to fear. It's a privilege. Do you know how many people never get to grow old? Do you know how many people would give anything for just one more year? So if you're lucky enough to get older, don't waste time worrying about looking young. Worry about living well, because a beautiful heart will always outshine a beautiful face. And speaking of living well, let me say something about love. Because, love is one of the greatest gifts we get in this life, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. Real love isn't about butterflies in your stomach or grand romantic gestures. It's about showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's hard. Love is in the small things. The way someone remembers how you take your coffee, the way they hold your hand when you're scared, the way they listen when you've had a bad day. And let me tell you, love should never feel like begging. If you have to beg for someone's attention, for their respect, for their time, that's not love. The right person will never make you feel like you have to prove your worth. Now let's talk about something most people avoid: failure. Oh, people are so afraid of failing. They don't try new things because they might not be good at them. They don't chase their dreams because they might not succeed. Well, let me ask you something. So what? So what if you fail? What's the worst that can happen? You learn, you grow, you try again. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a part of it. Every person who has ever achieved anything worthwhile has failed, many times. But they didn't stop. They didn't let failure define them. So, if you want something, go for it. Don't let the fear of failing stop you from even trying. Because the only real failure is never trying at all. And before I go, I want to say one more thing. Be kind, not just to others, but to yourself. We are so hard on ourselves. We criticize, we compare, we tell ourselves we're not enough. But you are enough, just as you are. And when you're kind to yourself and to others, you leave the world a little better than you found it. And really, isn't that what life is all about?